You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, is this what the kids listen to these days? See, I would turn this song on and I'd be like, oh, hey, this is a great tune, you guys.
Got a nice little beat to it.
And the kids would go, no, we've moved on from this song from Posty. They love Posty, but this is like not even the good one, Dad.
I don't even think the kids these days listen to Posty. That's how old Posty is now. Like all the people that grew up listening to Posty are like in their 20s.
Lloyd and I went on a date to the Post Malone concert one time at the NBA All-Star game. We sat next to each other on the media row. And we're like, this is great. We knew very well that we were in our 40s and we're watching this thing, okay? It's fine. It's fine. I'm like, can they turn it down a little bit? I just think it's a little too bright with the lights. We've got a lot going on in the program. Jonathan Tavernari is going to join us in just a moment here. We were just discussing BYU's playing Arizona tomorrow down in Tucson. Need I remind you the nastiness that came out of that game last year, how it ended with some reffing controversy, how the crowd responded with some of their now, the chance it'll cost you $100,000, and BYU walking away with a win. And they host Arizona at the same place, and they're going to be Richie Saunderless. And I am terrified for BYU fans because there will be – this is – how do you respond? How do you respond to some of the worst news you can get? And it's going to be interesting on how they respond. It's going to be interesting how the bench responds and how KY coaches this team now without first team, all first team Big 12 player Richie Saunders. Man, it's crazy. We're going to kick the hour off here with somebody who's going to have all the answers for us. He's Jonathan Tavernari. Let's kick off the cut right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, as we get you going here, and JT's nice enough to join us every week and kind of give us some and dip in here, but we've had really rough moments for this BYU team this year where they've obviously some adversity. JT, with Richie Saunders being out, number one, you feel for the kid and how awful that is. And number two, we've talked about how important it is to have all three of those guys going for BYU to be successful. How can they do it now?
Well, first of all, Alex, JJ, and the other Alex, I need the sound cut where it says I have all the answers, because I don't think I ever heard that in my life before.
We will give you that title, and I will make it. We'll turn it all over to you, because I honestly I don't know how they're going to do it.
Well, so first things first, I just want to say what an emotional weekend it was for BYU fans. You know what I mean? Start on Saturday. I'll start my weekend on Friday because, I was a part of a dinner, of an event with Jimmer and family and a few teammates. And it was emotional, man. Like seeing him talk and his career and what we meant to him and how that felt. It was touching. JJ, you see me cry a lot, so we don't have to talk about me being a melted butter, as you say it in Brazil.
You emotional? Never seen that before.
It's only when you get poked in the eye. It's because I got poked in the eye. These aren't real tears.
Just blame it on that incident.
Right. Yeah. And then you fast forward to Saturday where you walk in the arena and everything is just plain white with Jimmer jerseys. And then as soon as the game starts, Richie goes down by himself. And I think all of us, we were in the BYU TV studio, and the moment he goes down, we all just gasp for air. We go, right? And so, and then you go to the first half, you see, Richie being taken, and leaving the gym, and then, the retirement ceremony. And then it's a close game, and Colorado makes a close game, and BYU gave them all the chances to win the game. And, BYU was truly playing with fire that day, to then winning in overtime. And so such an emotional roller coaster I found out about the injury late on Saturday. And so, and at first thought, it's like, how do you move forward? And you are correct. I think from a emotionally, you can't. that's your emotional leader. That's your senior leader. Kevin Young says that Richie was the face of the Kevin Young era. I'll even go far to say that Richie was the last of the Mohicans. I don't think we're ever going to see another college player stay put for 4 years like Richie Saunders did. I hope I am, vehemently wrong with Dean Ruckert from Chimpview and that he becomes that type of player. But, man, in this day and age, and so there's a lot that you need to replace with Richie. On the technical side, I think you have a couple of options. You have option A, which is you completely go in on offense and you say it's a race to 130 points and we're going to see who gets there first. And you play Alexei Kostic or Tyler Murus, 20 minutes a game apiece. That's what you do. Or you turn this into, hey, we are going to load up defensively and let AJ and Rob do their thing on offense, and you play 2-3 zone defense, and you bring in Hadim Boop as a starter. I don't see a ton of other options, to be honest with you. And Keba Keita is already a little bit on the mends with a hand injury that Kevin Young mentioned after the game on Saturday. And then Bidu, the big man from the G League, just hasn't provided that great of a boost. And so, emotionally, I don't think you move on from Richie Saunders. You can't. Technically, either you literally shoot for the moon or, it becomes the AJ and Rob show.
No one's going to be able to replace Richie. And obviously, you're going to have to lean on your two other stars. They're going to play 40 minutes a game. Have you seen enough from anybody on that roster to think, man, with the opportunity, with more minutes, can they give us something, anything that we have been missing this season? Did you see enough in that Colorado game with Richie out to think that there's somebody that could come in and make some big shots, just give you like 10 points a game?
Sadly, JJ, we have not. And I think that as you look at that, I wouldn't say even Kennard Davis can be fully reliable at this point. And I don't think that's a knock on Kennard. He is the player that he is. But, aside from the one game that I said that he was going to be 5 for 8, and then he ended up being 5 for 8, we just haven't seen a ton from him, right? And what this team is missing desperately is a player like me, a player like Tavernari, where it's a player that will not be a liability on defense, will be able to be a catch and shoot, spread the floor guy, and be able to help for 25, 30 minutes a game. It's what Mac did last year to perfection. It's what Tavernari did for perfection. I mean, Richie Saunders had been their most consistent three-point shooter. And I mean, I want to emphasize, like, Robert Wright is not a three-point shooter. He is shooting, in the high 40s right now, which is great. But he's a creator. He's shooting off the dribble. You're talking about pure catch and shoot guys. BYU doesn't have that. Tyler Murus, has been, and Alexei Kostic has been shooting borderline 30% from three. I mean, not even you can't even get in the Hall of Fame with baseball with those numbers. And you know what I mean? And so to be fair, I just haven't seen consistency by one player. I haven't seen consistency from three players. And so I think it would be the situation where every game they are going to be hoping that someone else other than AJ and Rob step up, and don't get it twisted. AJ and Rob cannot have bad games from now until they finish their season.
Wow.
Quite a week to have to do this too, going to Tucson and going into that environment where they won last year and all the emotions that went with that and all the controversy that went with that game. And then on top of it, they have maybe the hottest team in the entire conference, Iowa State, who got the win over Houston over the weekend. I mean, this is a brutal week for the Cougs to have this happen.
Well, I mean, let's talk about they faced the number 4 team in the country on Wednesday and then the number 6 team in the country on Saturday. Talk about having a relaxing week after your senior leader just go down, And so it's one of those things that I will say this. I don't think that this is a make or break week for BYU. I think that was, I fully think that their season had reached a peak in terms of this is going to be a make or break situation for BYU at the Kansas game. Now, with the Richie situation, I personally feel that you almost get a reset, and that situation becomes the Iowa State game on Saturday. I don't think a win over Texas Tech, with Texas Tech being ranked in the top 15, I don't think that's enough. I think BYU needs a top 10 win to be able to keep hopefully fighting for a top 5 seed. I think if BYU, they have 6 games left. I think if they win, they lose to Arizona on the road, and then they win against Iowa State, and then they win at home. I don't remember who they had.
UCF.
And then they UCF at home, and then they go and win one of either Cincinnati or West Virginia, and then you just play all of your cards for the Texas Tech game. I think if they win if they go 4-2, they still have a fighting chance to be a 4, maybe a 5 seed. Anything else other than that, I think they're going to be, a 6, 7, maybe an 8 seed. And, and then the question becomes, guys, do you have buyer's remorse from all of the NIL donations? Do you start planning for next year with a lower budget? I think these are serious questions that in today's age of collegiate sports, you start asking yourselves. Obviously, you have all the right answers. I mean, 5 rotation guys for BYU have been out with injuries. You're not talking about just 1 or 2 guys. You're talking about the backup point guard. You're talking about the 6th man. You're talking about the backup center. You're talking about the backup 4-man. And you're talking about the senior leader who was arguably one of the top guards forwards in the country and had aspirations of being drafted. And so you have the right, quote unquote excuses, but will donors be able to back that up and be able to say, hey, absolutely, we're going to put another $20 million this year to see what we can do next year? I think that's a very valid question to ask.
No, you bring up a great point. Obviously, you were going to go, if you had a chance to get A.J. DeBonsa, you're going to get A.J. DeBonsa. You're going to go all in and you're going to do what you have to do. I don't blame BYU one bit for that, but moving forward, you bring up a good point. What's more important right now in college basketball, to have that top star or to build depth? And how do you allocate your resources to build the right team? If you're looking around college basketball right now, who do you think has that figured out the most?
Oh man, I was, until the season started, I was going to say Kansas State, and then everything happened this last week, and but I would probably say, Florida has it figured out, because Florida is looking pretty darn good this year. I thought UConn had figured out, and UConn has had a so-so year, but they're still right up there, right? And so I would say Texas Tech has figured out back-to-back years. I would say Houston has it figured out. I'll probably say, even Arizona has it figured out, because last year they were also pretty good. And so I'll probably say that, the top 5 teams in the Big 12 have it figured out. And then you probably have, the top 2 teams of each conference have figured out. Maybe 3 or, maybe depending on the conference, the SEC, you go the top 3 or 4 teams, the Big 10. But aside from that, nobody else has been a constant, just a consistent, quote unquote, blue blood in this NIL era. BYU had been, if we want to, just be able to draw a line and say, hey, in this NIL era, BYU is a blue blood, and I say that in terms of who has had success since, paying players became a thing. I would put BYU up there. It's a sad thing because, the ROI on the big investment by the donors won't be seen this year unless AJ and Rob, truly become, Frodo and Samwise, Batman and Robin, Batman and Superman. You name the 2 that, the duo, the Kobe and Shaq, the Scotty and Michael, that you want to do it. Because the only way that BYU is going to go somewhere is if those 2 have, otherworldly performances night in and night out.
So as you see this thing coming down to it, and BYU's obviously they take a hit like that. What does missing somebody like that in the NCAA tournament mean usually, JT? Because I know it sounds like a dumb question, I think, but also, that's just a different level, and it's also one of those places that they didn't just lean on Richie last year; they needed him for every game. Now you have these guys, and it changes the face of the tournament, I think, for everybody. Well,
and that's part of the reason why about a week and a half ago, I think right after our segment, I tweeted out about, hey, this is what my expectation is. If BYU, they have 8 games left. If they go 8-0, 7-1, 6-2, and I just went down, I broke that down. What I will say is whatever I wrote there, and I revisited today to be able to share what I shared with you guys, knock down another spot, maybe even 2. Right? BYU, I mean, JJ, how many times you were covering us and we're supposed to be a 6 seed or maybe even a 5 seed, but we always get punished because of the Sunday play. And so that's one. And then you losing a player of Richie's magnitude, forget about it. The tournament committee will absolutely knock down BYU a seed or 2. And so at this point, if BYU goes 4-2, maybe win a game or 2 in the Big 12 tournament, expect them to be probably a 6 or 7 seed. I would be surprised if they are a 5 seed, based on those factors.
Before we cut you loose, JT, I wanted to go back to Jimmer, and you're right. It was pretty cool to go down memory lane 15 years later. It's crazy it's been that long, but you had a chance to go to the thing on Friday night. I'm sure you had a lot of great moments behind the scenes. What are some of the things you can share about this past weekend that you're going to stick in your mind for quite a long time that were pretty special for you?
Well, so, I think Dave Rose said it best. The only thing that has changed about Jimmer in the last 15 years have been the fact that he developed a sense of fashion because of his wife. So, I think that's a fair thing to say, but what I would say is, I was there the early years, JJ, when, you're covering us and he wasn't even playing. Yeah. Like I'm talking about when, you guys would sit behind, when you guys were sitting behind us on the bench and Jimmer would barely come out of the floor of the bench his freshman year. Like he had a solid year, but it wasn't great. And then his sophomore year, he got a little bit better. He started some games, not all. And then it wasn't until his junior year against Wake Forest, against Arizona, that you truly saw what he was becoming capable of. And so to me, he and I were texting earlier today, just checking in because we're good friends. And I feel grateful that I was there during the early years, right? I mean, I always point out as I'm teaching my sons and as I coach my 7th grade basketball team, that's getting pretty good. We'll talk about that another day. But I always go to them and I say, look, basketball was my way out. I came here from Brazil. And if it wasn't for basketball, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And, I can always turn to them and tell about, Jimmer. I'm like, look, this is a guy that you all have seen in practice that, he has talked to you guys. He had to be developed. He wasn't born with it. It wasn't just like, he shows up and, he was shooting from half court. It took a lot of sacrifice, a lot of effort. And to me, the journey means, almost as much as the destination because of what you go through and you learn. And those are one of the things that you saw with Jimmer, especially in the early days when, he was just the kid from Glens Falls, the kid from upstate New York, and nobody really knew who he was. And he became someone all because of his merits and his hard work and effort and, and just attitude.
Jonathan Tavernari, JT, as always, man. It's not under great circumstances this week as we had to talk about all the it's the worst to have to talk about injuries. It's just the absolute worst, and to see that kid's BYU career come to an end. Richie Saunders is just, so many people have had amazing moments watching BYU because of Richie Saunders and what he brought to this team, and it's a real bummer for that kid. And I hope that he gets it all back and he starts fighting and figures out what that pro career is going to end up looking like. And we certainly wish them the best. JT, we wish you the best too, man. And we wish your 7th grade team the best. We did this with Riley Nelson with the football side of things. He was always giving us a standings update on the Ute Conference for his boys.
Well, hey, listen, a couple of things, I teased Richie and I said, the last person that you passed on the all-time scoring list was me. And you passed me by just a few points. I'm like, that really had to happen after you passed me, huh? And so, but the one thing that, I shared a message with him because I admire him and I look up to him and I think he's amazing. For those who have a chance to see, go to the BYU TV app and watch his, I think it's True Blue.
It's Deep Blue, yeah.
the deep blue. The one from Richie is special, But I will say this: I coach the number one 7th grade basketball team in the country in the Adidas circuit, and I'm actually looking at my son as I speak now. He's pretty good. He has offers to go overseas. My wife has vetoed that vehemently, and and so. Which is funny because when I was 16, I left my house to come over here, and I'm like, if I hadn't done that, we wouldn't have met. And so, my team is pretty good. I have about 10 kids. I have 2 different rosters of 16 kids of the same age, and I have about 10, 12 of them that are special. I'm trying to keep them together for high school. So I can be the next Quincy Lewis and dominate high school basketball in Utah.
I love there was a skosh of humility for a second. Where he's like, we have a pretty good 7th grade team, and then it was all, we're the number 1 team in the country.
I'm coming for you, Quincy Lewis.
I'm going
records.
at it. I love it. It's the most JT thing that's ever happened on the program. Jonathan Tavernari, BYU great. Thanks for hanging out with us, JT, as usual, man.
As JJ knows, I'm a very down-to-earth, level-headed, emotional guy. So,
absolutely.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks,
You
JT.
bet. There you go. Yeah. It's so tough for the whole Richie thing.
There's just a pall over BYU hoops right now. It would be an amazing story if they're able to overcome this and go on a March run. It's just hard. The facts are what they are.
Yeah.
You cannot replace Richie Saunders, and it's also the timing in the season where this is happening. And JT's sitting here looking for answers. They're not on the bench. They're not on that roster right now, and it's hard. And you're going to have to ask your 2 stars to go 40 minutes a night. It's all on their shoulders. One of them's a freshman. I don't care how good AJ is. He's a freshman. You're asking a freshman to go out there and carry this through that schedule. It's a lot to ask, and it's a lot to take on. And they're going to get punished. They're not only going to get punished with the seed line because of Sunday play, they're going to get punished because Richie's out.
Yeah.
I think that his belief of 6 and 7 seed is optimistic.
Yeah. We were talking about that, yeah.
We'll see how they go on these games, but it's going to be tough for them to hold on to that kind of a seed in that range because those 2 factors.
Well, you got an easy week this week. Arizona at Arizona, and then you welcome the Cyclones into the Marriott Center.
Big 12 life.
Oh, my goodness.
# blessed.
Hey, University of Utah Health brings you this portion of the program at U of U Health. Hope is in our DNA. Learn more at uofuhealth.org. That's University of Utah Health, for you, for life, uofuhealth.org. We will come back. We will chat more. We've got tons to break down. I've got a ranking in front of me, and it's not a way too early poll. It's one that is happening right now. The best college football transfer portal editions. There is a top 25 that's out, and the 2 big local teams here are both on it, and we'll tell you where exactly they are on that one. Stay here, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Always on the positive side of things, Kurt Cobain, right?
Oh, yeah. Uplifting.
I do love some Nirvana, man. It just it feels like
takes me back to
feels 7th or 8th grade. Yeah,
for sure.
It's awesome. Welcome back to the program, JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, let's fire it up, Annapolis. I feel like we should give some stuff out. It is a Jazz Ticket Tuesday, so let's do it.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the 3. He hits. Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right. All you have to do is call the number. Caller number 12 gets a pair of tickets to see the Jazz versus the Pelicans next week here at Delta Center. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-9663. Get those tickets right now. We've got another pair to do again next hour. So there you go. The best college football transfer portal edition for the top 25 teams. Now, the ending of the year, where did Utah actually end up in the actual top 25? What was the AP ranking? I want to say 15th.
15 or 14, right?
Because I'm looking at this, and it's obviously changed for this. 15 sounds right?
The only one that mattered is, yeah.
Yeah. So
was the college football
out of the top 25 and how that poll finished.
14th.
14th.
In the AP top 25.
Okay. Obviously, the changing over the guard at the coaching staff is what it is, and with that comes some exits, and with the exits also comes you going back into the transfer portal, or maybe looking a little bit harder or finding some guys there. Utah, out of the top 25, moves down to number 25 for their transfer portal class. Now, this is all moot if everything works out. You know what I mean? And by the way, that's the case for all these. When you say, hey, that's the number one transfer portal class, you won't really know until the end of next year. I mean, we already said that the Will Howard move for Ohio State a couple of years ago was a bad move and ended up netting them a national championship.
He just provided the stability they needed at that position with so much talent around him that it worked out for them.
You know what he was? He was the Sam Darnold of no, that's mean. More like a Trent Dilfer.
Why does that mean?
No, because
Sam
I think
Darnold was great.
No, he was.
It's a great story.
I think he was great. And
is Sam Darnold the best quarterback in the NFL? No, that's okay.
Yeah,
doesn't have to be.
No, he doesn't. But I didn't want to dog him if Will Howard, because I think Will Howard.
We were tough on Will Howard because he lost his job at Kansas State to a freshman.
And then he transfers to Ohio State, and we're like, good luck.
And he had luck.
25 is Utah on this list. And obviously, I think a lot of this just has to do with the fact that, you know, the changing over the coaching staff is just, it's a hard thing to try to get stability, and which is what everybody in a transfer portal wants. They want the money and they want stability, right? And if you get recruited, and Morgan Scalley is one of the best recruiters in the state, man. Like that is one of his superpowers.
Proven track record. No doubt about it.
And now that he's at the head coaching spot, he knows how to talk to young men and their families, and not just bring them in, but bring them in long term. It's just that the equation's changed these days, and I don't know if it's right. We won't really know if it's the worst class of the top 25 at the end of it. But you know, I think that there were bigger names that left, obviously, that came in. That's all it's talking about.
More than they got
Yeah,
back. Let's
that's the
be
point.
honest. You lose John Henry Daly, you lose Smith Snowden. Even J.J. Buchanan was had a great freshman season and had a lot of promise and a lot of hype moving forward. And he's not going to see that out of Utah. He's not going to see that out of Michigan. Those are big losses. I don't think Utah got back enough in return to say they made up for those losses. Where they did improve, though, is in the receiver core. And I think if you looked at the offense last year, what was the biggest criticism of Utah's offense? They couldn't take the top off.
Yeah.
They just had no downfield threat whatsoever. Dallin Bentley ended up being terrific at the tight end position, and now he's going to play in the NFL because of what he did in his senior year.
And then a promising guy, J.J. Buchanan, and then
Ryan Davis had a great year in the slot, right? But it was possession stuff. It wasn't. There was no way to stretch the field with the guys they had in that offense. Some guys they brought in didn't work out to the fullest that they expected. So they went out and got Braden Pagan out of Utah State, and that's exactly what he was able to do at Utah State for the Aggies last year. Is he gave them a target that they could hit deep and in intermediate routes, but he put up a lot of numbers. And if they can get Braden Pagan to be his best, then they're going to improve there. And they also went out and got some other guys, Kyrie Scholes and Ricky Johnson from San Jose State and Mississippi State in that receiver room. Now, if that receiver group exceeds expectations, if one of those guys pops and goes for 1,000 yards for the first time in a long time, I think Darren Carrington was the last Utah player to do that, then you'll have a different view of Utah's transfer portal additions.
So, other notables on the list from the Big 12, Arizona State, they put at 23, so they felt like they lost more guys than they got. Obviously, the big one was Sam Leavitt, right? I mean, that's probably the one that put them all the way down that way.
Yeah, and Jordan Tyson leaves at the NFL. That's tough.
And TCU loses their quarterback, Josh Hoover, which, of course, is the reason why the number one transfer portal class, according to this, out of the top 25 is Indiana. Because they get Josh Hoover. And whether or not that's going to pay off for them, great. He's a talented quarterback. And he certainly didn't have, the best time at TCU. He certainly didn't win as much as his arm probably could have given them, but that's the way it is too.
There's a sneaky, before we move on from TCU, there's a sneaky addition to that quarterback room for TCU. Jaden Craig is a quarterback from Harvard. And your first thought is, Harvard? Well, good luck, buddy. I'm sure you're smart, but good luck in the Big 12.
Hey, Ryan Fitzpatrick, man.
There's been some guys that have played at the Ivies that have had success in the NFL, and Fitzgerald's one of them. But this guy can sling it. 6,074 yards, 63 touchdowns, just 12 interceptions in 2 years as a starter at Harvard. He's actually projected to be a day 3 pick in the NFL draft. This is an NFL quarterback.
That's who they added.
So I know you're thinking Josh Hoover left TCU. They're gonna, not so fast. If Craig can come in and come close to matching some of that production from Hoover and take care of the ball a little bit better, that was Hoover's downfall, right? Too many picks last year.
Yeah.
If they can do that, then TCU isn't going away, folks.
So on this same list, before we get out, BYU's at 11. They mentioned the Cade Uluave ad as one of the best linebackers, really he was probably one of the best. He was first team All ACC.
They took their greatest need of losing Jack Kelly and they replaced him with a guy that I think can be as productive and has a proven track record at Cal. And he's from Utah.
So he's as a guy who was a former Pac-12 defensive freshman of the year too. Like, you think about all the time he spanned his career.
Outstanding.
He's already got 240 tackles in his career. So, but BYU's 11. Michigan, they put at 18, and they say the best ad for them is John Henry Daly. And that might not be – I mean, that might be the case.
Will he be ready for the season?
That's what I'm asking. Like, he's coming off of what has become commonplace, the Achilles that everybody seems to be going down with these days. But they added Smith Snowden. They added J.J. Buchanan. They did lose a lot of guys because that's what happens when a coach that maybe you were with the whole time and maybe you didn't want – maybe you saw the writing on the wall too. You see somebody transfer in and you go, I'm not going to be starting. But Celeste Moa, of course, unless he changes his mind.
Is there still time?
Is he enrolled at Michigan? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Who's offering a bag? Let's
ask Mark Harlan. All right. We will take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. And we've got now we're going to get to the people who it sucks to be this weekend. Is that okay? Have we had sufficient positive talk the rest of the show? We can have the people who it currently is not fun to be in the sports world. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Basking in the sports misfortune of others to help make you feel just a little bit better about yourself. As JJ and Alex present,
yes, we got beat. We got beat badly.
It Sucks to Be You.
Welcome back, everybody. Yes, you know what that rocking out music is. It means it's our time to go over the people who it currently sucks to be in the world of sports. JJ,
it's the Descendants.
It's a comprehensive list, and they use the word sucks quite a bit in this song, and so that's why we picked it, right?
Hey, some days it does suck. I mean, it sucks to be BYU basketball.
Oh, my goodness.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, BYU athletic department in general is struggling right now.
Tough weekend.
Yep. So that goes without saying. The current people who it sucks to be also in the world of sports. I mean, the dunk contest, it sucks to be the dunk contest. It is not important anymore. It's not just not important anymore. It was such a weak showing. The thing is that the highlight reels were not the dunks. They were the missed dunks. They're the people who aren't there. And
does the league need to scrap it?
I don't see the benefit of it. It's not that exciting anymore. I don't know. It's because every dunk has already been done or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure how to remedy that. You can't. There's no international versus U.S. that you could do on this that would fix it. But it was an absolute. I just went back to look at the highlights and I was like, gosh, this is who we got doing this. And I love how they were like, LeBron James didn't even go to it. I'm like, who cares?
Why does LeBron have to go to it?
I don't know. Stephen A. felt like it was necessary.
I wouldn't want to go to it. Why would LeBron?
And look, gone are the days of Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins, running the show on that thing. And it was just different. Now there's no version. There are people who dunk better for their YouTube channel than the guys in the NBA do.
Oh, 100%.
And that's where we're at. And so maybe that's just what they admit. They go, hey, let's make it the Joes versus the Schmoes. You know what I mean? Or the dudes, the Joe Schmoes versus the pros. Let's have that go on. Bring in the professional dunkers, see how they do against the NBA guys. And the NBA guys will feel a little bit of pressure to maybe put it together. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with solutions. I was just saying it was not something that I wanted to watch. It was kind of a bummer. So JJ, anybody that you have on the list of somebody who it currently sucks to be?
I mentioned BYU. That's obvious.
That's the big one.
How about the Canadian curling team?
Oh, man. Oof.
Busted.
Hey, tape don't lie. And he felt like, so if anybody wasn't watching, is he the skip on that team, by the way? I think he is. So
Yeah.
Canada
Look
and
at you. Sound like you know what you're talking about.
Is he the skip or is he second or third? Or is he the second or the third? I watched so much curling this weekend. I still don't understand it, like I said. But anyway, I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay. Apparently they're the super pack. Canada and is it Sweden who they were going who went
Sweden.
back and forth? So the Swedish team goes, yeah, dude. Anyway, it's basically a Seinfeld episode. You double dip the chip. You dipped the chip. You took a bite. You dipped it back into the bowl. That's the double dip. This guy basically did the curling version of it. You can't be touching the stone after it reaches the hog line. Yep, that's what they call the green line on there. Okay.
You're also not allowed to touch it after you let go, right?
And if you let go, yeah, you can't be. Oh, let me beep. And he's going tappy tap tap. Give it a little tap. And it's on film. The guy's like, I'll show you the tape afterward. And the Canadian guy responds with the blankety blank F word at the Swedish team on television, and that wasn't a good look for the sport. Although I think they need a little bit more of that.
I think it was a great look for the sport.
They need a little bit more of that.
We're talking about it on the radio,
I know.
man.
There's some drunk guys in Wisconsin who play this at the bar on the weekends, and they're saying the same thing to each other.
Curling's having a moment because some guy in Canada decided to cheat for the win, and he F-bombed a bunch of guys, and it got caught on TV.
And by the way,
sounds good to me.
He didn't really respond to the cheating. All he did was go, I could have responded better. I feel bad for the young fans of the curling sport.
gosh.
He didn't address the fact. And by the way, the curling people were like, we don't go back and rewatch and then decide that they cheated and like disqualify or anything. They don't have a post competition slow-mo. You know what I mean?
Outside of embarrassing the entire country of Canada, he got away with it.
He did get away with it. And but yeah, he's gonna have to. He's the Patrick Reed of curling, man. Oh yeah, you're the champion. You feel good about it? Because I think you grounded your club, brother.
Nobody likes you, man. Nobody likes you. I believe that jacket belongs to Mr. Gilmore.
By the way, I can't figure out who it sucks to be more, either Sac State or the MAC, because I think Sac State going to the MAC, like that might be a lateral move, fellas.
Oh, lateral. You think Mick Cronin at UCLA is going to be frustrated with the travel schedule? Wait till whoever Sac State's coach is has to deal with that.
I think that they had a ton of people come out who are alum, and they're like, we do not know what we're doing. Please do not do this.
What, 90% or almost 100% of that league is in the Eastern time zone?
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
What in the world is Sac State doing playing in the MAC?
Yeah. Good luck, everybody.
Can't wait for that Sac State Ball State game. Then. I think there's going to be a rivalry there.
First of all,
a natural rivalry. Seems like a good pairing.
First of all, you freaking grow up and stop all the puns. I hate you right now.
What are you talking about?
I can't look over at you. Okay.
Disagree?
It's like I don't even know you right now.
What's your take on it?
I have to look straight at the TV.
You don't have a Ball State, Sac State
I have to
take?
look straight at the TV. Otherwise, I can't get through it.
All
right. Of course, every week we honor the awesome youth sports volunteers in your area with the we call it the Beehive Meals here of the week now. Beehive Meals, of course, sponsors this great program. You're going to get $250 to Beehive Meals if you win this one. The way that you win is, and it's the people listening right now who nominate you. That's the person we want to hear from. Get those nominations in. Somebody who does an awesome job in the youth sports in your area. All you have to do is go to kslsports.com/contests and then nominate that person. And it could be in anything. They could be a coach. They could be an assistant coach. They could be a team mom. They could be a volunteer of so many different things. We have so many parents who do so many great things in youth sports to help out. Nominate them right now, kslsports.com/contest. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. We'll take a break. We'll come back. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.